A simple step-by-step story that may save you years of stress. The day everything changed was a normal Tuesday evening. It was 7:43 in the evening when my phone buzzed for the 7th time that day. Someone asked me if I could help them move during the weekend. Without thinking, my fingers typed the word "sure" before my mind understood what I was doing. 10 seconds later, I felt regret. That night, I could not sleep. I lay in bed until 3 in the morning, thinking about how to cancel without sounding like a bad person. That moment became my breaking point. I finally understood something important. I was not saying yes to help people. I was saying yes because I wanted people to like me. Every sure, every no problem, and every I got it was my way of trying to be the nice person. But behind that kindness, I was tired, anxious, and slowly falling apart. The hidden cost of being the nice person. Most people never think about the real cost of saying yes too much. I did the math and the results were painful. I slept only 4 to 5 hours a night because I was always stressed. I spent around 800 ringgit a month on favors, rides, meals, and other things I did not even want to do. Every week, I lost around 12 hours helping with problems that were not mine. In only 1 month, I had 2 panic attacks. I became a walking ATM for time, money, and emotional energy. And the sad truth was this: nobody even knew I was struggling. When you always say yes, you create invisible chains around yourself. People start expecting you to always be available, and slowly you forget how to protect your own peace. Day 1, the first no. I decided to try a small experiment. What would happen if I stopped saying yes immediately? The first test came quickly. My cousin asked me to design her wedding invitation for free again. The old version of me would have said yes in 1 second, but this time I paused and said, "Let me check my schedule." Those 5 words became my shield. They gave me 1 full day to think. After thinking, I realized I did not want to do it, so I did not. She then hired a designer online for $20. The world did not fall apart. She still loved me. My fear was imaginary. That simple no became my first real act of self-respect in years. The 3-question filter. To stop myself from falling back into old habits, I wrote 3 questions on a sticky note. Does this give me energy? Can someone else do it? Is it both urgent and important? If the first answer was no, I stopped there. If someone else could do it, I declined or delegated. If something was urgent but not important, I scheduled it later. In 7 days, I declined 6 requests, accepted only 1 that I truly liked, and took back 18 hours of my life. Those hours were not just numbers. They were long walks, naps, quiet dinners, and the simple joy of breathing without pressure. How to say no without being rude. Most of us are not afraid of the word no. We are afraid of how others will react. So I wrote simple, polite sentences to protect my time. When coworkers asked for extra tasks, I said, "Thanks for asking, I am full this week, but I can revisit in 2 weeks." When family wanted weekend help, I said, "I want to help, but weekends are my rest time. Can we find another solution?" When friends asked for sudden plans, I said, "Let me check my calendar. I will tell you tomorrow." When guilt appeared, I said, "I hear you. I am focusing on my health right now. I hope you understand." These phrases felt strange at first, but each one opened a small door to freedom. Day 4. The surprise. In the middle of the week, I said no to a networking event I usually forced myself to attend. Instead, I stayed home, made tea, and worked on a Notion template I had been planning for months. By midnight, it was done. The next morning, I made my first sale, 150 ringgit earned while wearing pajamas. The event I skipped would have cost me 80 ringgit and hours of small talk. That day, I learned something important. Every no to noise is a yes to clarity. The science behind saying no. This idea is not just emotional. Research supports it. A study from Harvard showed that people who always say yes have much higher stress levels. Another study found that people who say no confidently are seen as more competent and more trustworthy. Even my doctor noticed a difference. In 1 week, my blood pressure dropped from 135/90 to 118/78. Your body knows when you protect yourself. The 7-day no challenge. If you want to try it, here is how it works. First, never say yes immediately. Second, let me check becomes your default reply. Third, track each time you say no. My own log looked like this. On the first day, my mood was 6 out of 10. I saved 2 hours and saved no money. By the third day, my mood was 8. I saved 8 hours and saved 50 ringgit. By the seventh day, my mood was 10. I had reclaimed 18 hours and saved 230 ringgit. But the numbers were not the best part. For the first time in months, I slept more than 7 hours for 5 nights in a row. I finished reading Atomic Habits, a book that sat on my shelf for a year. I launched a small side project and earned 450 ringgit. The lie we learn. Many of us grow up hearing that nice people say yes. Teachers, parents, and bosses repeat the message until it becomes a rule in our minds. But it is not true. Respectful people say no when needed. Boundaries are not walls. They are gates that you control. You are not selfish for protecting your time. You are not rude for caring about your mental health. You are simply taking back your life. The emotional change. The biggest surprise was not the money or the extra sleep. It was how my relationships changed. Friends who respected my boundaries became even closer. People who only contacted me when they needed something slowly disappeared, and I did not miss them. With more space, my productivity doubled. My creativity returned. Even my posture changed. I stood taller and felt lighter. Saying no is uncomfortable at first, but that discomfort is small compared to the long-term stress of trying to solve everyone else's problems. Lessons from each day. On the second day, I noticed how many people expected me to say yes. They expected it because I had trained them to expect it. Boundaries teach others how to treat us. On the third day, I experienced silence. Fewer messages, fewer notifications. It felt strange at first, then peaceful. I started journaling again. On the fifth day, I caught myself smiling alone. It had been years since I felt calm without background noise. On the seventh day, I realized that much of my anxiety came from commitments I never needed to accept. The freedom was addictive. Tools that helped me. To stay consistent, I created a small digital system. I used a Notion tracker to record every no. I made short voice notes reminding me that rest is important. I kept a small library of polite refusal sentences to copy anytime. These tools were not about control. They were about awareness. They reminded me that I was choosing my own life. Try this week. Choose one request you do not want to do. Say no politely. Afterward, notice how you feel. Maybe you read a chapter of a book. Maybe you took a nap. Maybe you rested without guilt. That small moment is the beginning of a new identity, a life built with intention instead of pressure. The ripple effect. After this experiment, saying no became natural. My coworker said, I looked calmer. My weekends changed from stressful errands to slow mornings with coffee and sunlight. I had time to think, time to breathe, time to be myself. I even went back to old hobbies like sketching, writing, and cooking. Boundaries did not push people away. They created deeper relationships and a clearer mind. Why this matters. In a world that loves busyness, saying no feels rebellious. We are taught that being useful means being valuable, but the truth is simple. Your real value comes from protecting your energy and your peace. When you take care of your time, you take care of your future. Final thought. The world will not punish you for saying no. It will reward you quietly. You will sleep better. You will think clearer. You will feel more like yourself again. Say no once tonight. See how nothing bad happens. Then say no again tomorrow with less fear and more confidence. Because every no to someone else is a yes to the life you truly want. Your future self is already smiling.